Namaste, gods. This is an emissaries of light. This is Dr. Tyen. All right, so whoever is up, let's chat. Let's do a late night chat. I'm for it if you're for it. I did pull some cards already pre-shuffled. Oh, I love you too. One second, you guys. All right. I do not know what. And I am a multi-dimensional being, so I'm being multifaceted right now. I do apologize, but I just got offline with Chad Terrell, and I was on his channel, so I jumped over to my channel. What's going on, everybody? Good. I pulled some tarot, and I want to just kind of like do a late night chat. I'm not going to be pulling any cards for like personal readings during this, but I am going to be doing a card reading. And I just want to kind of like help divine feminines to just kind of like recollect and come back into their selves, okay? But I have a topic of discussion for darn sure. You know I do. Welcome, Lauren. You came from over there. Welcome to my channel. Thank you. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe so you can be updated for all of my latest and current videos. Oh, thank you, Debbie. Hello. Yes, I was on Chad's channel. Yes, we all are decompressing. I want to talk about the divine masculine crying wolf. I don't know if you guys have experienced this because we all have our own different journeys, but here recently, and even throughout my journey, I deal with my divine masculine hurting me and then coming back and apologizing, but never taking the necessary steps to rectify the harm and the wrong. So I call it the boy who cried wolf. Okay. And you know how sometimes you want deep down in your heart for it to be true, but then there's this gut feeling deep down inside that you just cannot shake that tells you it's not. And you're like, but I don't want to be negative. You know, I want to be optimistic here. And no matter how optimistic you are, I'm just going to say it's not that much optimism in the world. Okay. Sometimes you have to start seeing the truth for what it really is. It's really difficult for people to change. And going into 2020, I was so excited. I have my new relationship, I have my new man, and I really was. And, you know, January the 1st, it was very copacetic, it was very peaceful for me. And then I got contacted by my first love, which, you know, it didn't really trigger me or anything like that because the divine really gave me plenty enough time for me to heal and work on myself and heal through that relationship dynamic. So it was kind of intriguing because it was an answer to a prayer that I prayed 11 years ago. I always wanted to know why he ghosted me, why he blocked me, why he did all the things that he did and just not give me the time or the day. Well, I had an opportunity to hear from him and to hear his side of the story. And I'm like, oh, so that's the reason why you did me like that. So I got a chance to clear the air with him. And we have been in like constant contact ever since because he was my best friend. And it's funny because, you know, all of my start off as being my best friend. It's crazy because my first husband, the same thing. He was my best friend and I married him. My second husband, he was my best friend and I married him. And then with my first love, he was the first guy that ever proposed to me. Okay. So he was my ex-fiance. but I never married him because of fear. And I allowed for what people said to kind of like interfere in our relationship. So I want to go back to my DM and this apology, this faux apology. Okay. For those of you that don't know, that faux means fake or phony. I call it a faux apology, even though I know as his wife, he was being very sincere and he pulled out his heart. But my husband has also struggled with alcohol. So I don't know if he did this in a state of soberness or in a state of discombobulation. Okay. For one. And for two, I feel like verbal apologies are the most insincere apologies ever. You know why? Because they are devoid of action. The best apology is changed behavior. So I felt like I was going to go ahead and pull some cards. And I did. I already pre-shuffled it and I pulled them, right? And so I want us, okay, to really focus our energy on ourselves. It's time for a rebirth, you guys. It's time for transformation because we are now entering a new decade. Okay, this is not a new year only. The way that we start off this year is going to determine our livelihood for the next 10 years. So really be conscientious, you guys, about the vibes and what you allow to come into your aura. It's so true. You know what, Debbie, you hit the nail right on the head with a hammer. Growth does seem to occur when it's over, but it can also occur while you're still in it. And for most of us, just like myself, I am still in it. I'm still attached to this man. I'm still married to this man, right? But I have grown exponentially since our separation. You know what, T. Taylor? There is a saying, healer, heal thyself. I know the most inspirational people in the world that sometimes get so depressed because they're so enwrapped and enthralled in helping other people that they forget about self. They forget to help themselves, you know? And as a light worker, we all go through that. I'm sorry, you guys, this hair is hot. Ugh. Anyway, we all go through those stages where we're constantly pouring and outpouring ourselves, okay? And then we forget to recharge our own batteries, so to speak. This is what Chad was talking about today, too, or tonight. Today, depending on what side of the world you're on, though. You know what? And that's another thing too. I want to say, do not feel guilty if you're in a soulmate relationship as well, because soulmate relationships are so healing. And let's not always be so quick, divine masculine is in another relationship, to label this person as a karmic. Okay? Because you don't know. It could be a soulmate and it could be very needed for their healing. Okay? Hello, live, laugh, and love, Leo. Wow. And it's speaking about addictions. My husband, I never knew at the beginning of the marriage that he suffered with alcoholism. To be quite honest, had I've known, never, ever married him. Never. Not even for a single second. First of all, I'm a doctor, and I know you have a better chance. I came from a home where both of my parents were alcoholics. Okay. My mother, alcoholic, and my father was an alcoholic. And they divorced when I was 5, thank God. Um, but my mother has remained an alcoholic. And she still has a drinking problem. And the way that she is when she's, inebriated compared to how she is when she's sober is like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Okay. And the same thing with my husband. They're not the same because they're under the influence. And it's called spirits for a reason. Okay. Because you're opening yourself up to different spirits. And depending on the alcohol intake, you're taking in that spirit into your body. So it becomes a whole new situation. And congratulations for leaving that guy after 6 years of toxicity, T. Taylor. Mm. I know that's right, Debbie. And sometimes for most people, sometimes you cannot grow in the same environment in which you got sick. Sometimes you have to get out of the toxicity or the toxic relationship in order for you to grow. I wasn't able to grow until I left the situation because it was too toxic, it was too volatile, and it was starting to affect my children. And at the end of the day, I was a mother first before I married him. And I know a lot of women that would have stayed, but I was so concerned about the safety of my children that I had to go. I had to go. I could not expose my kids. I worked too damn hard to raise my children in a good moral system with moral beliefs and a good value system in order to allow someone to come in and undo all of the hard work that I have been doing years before he got there. No way. Hell no. Good for you, Debbie. I'm so, so happy for you. Exactly. Exactly. Because to me, I feel like if you are suffering with an illness, the first thing you have to do is admit that you have a problem. You know what? God knows that as much as I love my husband, I could never be with him if he still is drinking alcohol. Never. Never. I'll always love him. I'll never stop loving that man. Never. But I will not put myself, I love myself enough and I love myself too much to put myself back in a situation that no longer serves me and that I can't grow from, that is going to leave me stuck and stagnant. No way. I can't do it. Yes. And you know what? I told my husband this today on his voicemail. Like, my ex is willing to fly me out to California, all expenses paid, hotel, everything. My first love. And I'm flattered. I'm not even gonna lie. Even though I'm in a relationship with someone else, I'm fucking flattered because I loved him. It took me 17 and a half years to get over him. And now it's kind of like, it's funny how the tides change. Okay. Because now it's like I'm not even in love with him and he's still willing to do that. And we both talked about our relationships because he just came out of a long-term relationship for 15 years. And I have known my husband for 10 years. And so anyway, long story short, um, he wants to still get married. And like I'm already married, and then I'm in another situation with someone else where I'm back with my ex-fiance, and I'm like still telling my fiance that I'm with, I don't want to get married yet. Can it be like 5 years from now? He was like, how about 1 or 2 years from now? And I'm like, you guys scared shitless because I husband this has been the worst experience. This has been the worst marriage. This has been the worst relationship I have ever had. And so I'm really scared because after I marry a man, I don't know what happens to them internally, but it seems like they're like, okay, got her now. Let me go ahead and just fuck it up. It's like soon as they get me where they want me, I see a whole different side. And I'm trying to cleanse this out of my aura. So I want to attract that same energy. And that's what I'm working on right now. And me and my first, we're best friends all over again. He was like, girl, you need to detox. He was like, I know you got that situation, and just chill and just love yourself, dote on yourself, and just be there for yourself. And he's so right. He really is so right. But I got the most wonderful man in the world. And so I feel like it's very rare to have the type of relationship and the men that I have. So I'm going to still work on me while I'm with him, because I really have put him through some hell. I have. I left him for my husband, and I hurt him because I was in the middle of an engagement. I was in the middle of making preparations to go to marry him, and I filed for my divorce from my husband, but he refused to sign. That is exactly right, Debbie. It's not about fault. It is about lessons being learned. Okay. I'm in 100% total agreement with you on that one. Yes, the dark don't like our light. So yeah, we're all in this transformation stage. We're going through a rebirth. Okay. The phoenix rising from the ashes. That's us. And in this transformational period, for majority of us, it's not pretty. Okay. It's supposed to be hellacious, because that's how we heal. Unfortunately, we don't get a chance to make the rules. You heal through pain, whether you want the pain or not. The pain is there and it serves a purpose. And if you look at it from that higher perspective, it doesn't take the pain completely away, but it does take the edge off. Okay, let's get to the next card. You got clarity. This situation that is in front of you, I'm covering up clarity. There you go. This situation that is in front of you is your kryptonite. Do you see that? This is your kryptonite. If you can adapt and overcome this situation, then it will no longer have the effect that it has on you. Okay? It'll be something that you can take as what was once a stumbling block, you can turn into a stepping stone. Okay. Oh, thank you, Lauren. I appreciate you. Thank you, guys. Well, Debbie, I learned the same thing. And I told him that today. I said, if I could say anything about this whole experience, you have forced me to raise the bar in my relationships. I said, and I love the fact that I have all kind of men that are coming after me, that want to be with me, that are hypergamous, that have clout, that have money. And I'm like, they're able to really provide and take care of me. You put me in that position. Thank you. You know? So I thanked him for the experience, the lessons, because they turned out to be blessings. They really have. But ultimately, in my heart of hearts, no matter what, I still love my husband. I really do. And I'm always going to love him. But I got boundaries, and I've set those boundaries. Just like you talked about, Debbie, those boundaries have to be set. Don't ever let nobody cross them boundaries, because The thing that I learned is never let nobody cross boundaries with you, because if you do, they'll continue to do so. It does take a long time, especially being an empath. I agree. Yes, everyone, please hit the like button. Goddess Melinda, hello, beautiful. Okay. I miss you too. Thank you so much, T. Taylor, for appreciating my readings. I love it. I love doing what I do. Yes. You know what? When we cut those cords, I don't know why we think that it's kind of like a silver bullet or a panacea. Man, after you cut them cords, you talk about going through the dark night of the soul like it ain't nobody's business. Hmm. Let's talk about that. That's a side that nobody talks about. Nobody talks about the symptoms of cutting cords. Cutting cords comes with consequences. You hook, okay? You're going to feel it unless you remove it from the root. That's the reason why I have so many people come to me for my Michael the Archangel attunement and my shamanic healings, because there are a lot of light workers out there that know how to cut the soul ties, they know how to cut the cords, but they don't know how to do psychic surgery or Reiki to remove the root. Okay. So if you get these energetic healings and workings done for you, you need to ask the person before they perform it on you. Or even if you're the one that's performing it on yourself, you need to teach yourself how to remove the root. Because if you don't, it's going to grow back. And I do want to let you guys know that if you are a twin flame, you can cut the cords, but they'll grow back. You can never cut the cords from your twin flame permanently. Never. And you can't even remove the soul ties at all. The soul ties between you and your divine masculine or divine counterpart, you can't remove them. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. How are you going to remove a silver cord that's connected from you, source, and that person, linking you together? It says in the Bible that the cord cannot be cut. It says that what God has joined together, no one can separate, no one can pull apart. Didn't say maybe there may be a caveat if your twin flame is an asshole. Maybe I'll let you remove it. Unfortunately, it doesn't have that caveat in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? So you cannot remove it. You cannot cut that soul tie. And that is one cord you can't cut. There's a lot of energetic cords that are going back and forth between you and your divine counterpart. Even when you guys think about each other, you're forming a cord, an energetic cord. You see what I'm saying? The spirituality and the spiritual aspect of twin flame journey, it's like a rabbit hole. Okay. There's so much that you will discover, and there's so much that we need to learn. Okay. And I'm just on the surface of everything, but we can go deep. We can go as deep as you want to go. Hey, Brandon, what do you need help with? Just want to let everybody know this on here. I'm not doing readings, but don't forget to donate, please. And thank you. I don't have super chat or anything like that. Donations are welcome. If you don't have the link, I will drop it again. Thought I dropped it up here, but I guess I didn't. I'm reading y'all comments on my phone because it's so much better than me looking at my screen up there. Yes. It is like the Game of Thrones. Straight up. Marissa, you know what? I'm not gonna lie to you. This is a very tumultuous, difficult, complex journey that you're on by yourself. You and your divine counterpart signed a divine contract to be on this journey together. So, but by default, you're also carrying their karma too. I don't know if you guys are familiar with, I think her name is Claire Ann Prophet. Check her out. She is the first person that really opened up my eyes about twin flames. When you are with a twin flame and you're in a relationship, you, unbeknownst to yourself on a subconscious level, agree to carry on their karma. That is the reason why you need to clear the karma out, because ultimately you're only responsible for your own karma. But if you are a twin flame, you're responsible for their karma too if you're in a relationship and if you're married. Now, if you're in separation and they're doing their own thing, that's their shit. Okay? Because of free will, they chose not to coincide or coexist with you. So that, you know what I'm saying? That gives you relief. But if you're together in a partnership and you're married, that's your shit. They shit is your shit. That's the reason why the Bible said that two cannot go on by themselves, but the two must be one. So if one gets cold, the other one will keep the other person warm, right? It automatically becomes your obligation to pick up the slack, so to speak. That is so true. It does nothing. Okay? They're not, because it's not meant for them to. Yes. No, it's I thought her name was Claire Ann Prophet. I have actually her books. Marissa, you gave me a PayPal. Thank you so much for your donation, beautiful soul. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I did receive it. Aw, that makes me feel so good. Thank you. Exactly. And that's the one thing that is about this journey. It's like when we make our beds, we have to lie in it. Okay? We can't wallow in it. We can't be over remorseful neither, because it was meant for everything to happen. Good, bad, right, wrong, or indifferent. But here is the thing. After you do something that's wrong, you're supposed to make an amends, okay? Or else you're not sorry. You're supposed to rectify the wrong and make the wrong right. It doesn't give you an excuse to keep on giving people your ass to kiss. And this is what a lot of divine masculines don't understand. Let's get to the next card. You got relationships. Okay, the reason why you have the relationship card is because if you can see here, it takes two. It takes two in order for you to have anything called a relationship. A relationship is not a relationship without a participating party, whether it's same sex or the opposite sex. It still takes a willing participant. And so a lot of divine masculines are hedging their bets, or they're trying to be slick. All right, because what's happening, you guys, and I talked about a little bit of this on my brother Chad's channel. We are ending, and we have ended a karmic cycle, but the dust is still settling. So the divine is forcing for these karmic cycles to fade out completely so that the twin flames can come into harmonious union, 3D union, without third party energy separating them. Because the unions that are happening now are grand reunions. They're not just regular reunions. I've already had 3D reunions with my husband 3 times. Reunions. The next for all of us in the collective now is have the grand reunion, the alchemical marriage. So what's happening is that divine masculines, for most of them, they're trying to have one foot in the door and one foot out the other in both relationships. And so there is a lot of stringing along. And I caught that yesterday. Now, I do realize that, first of all, let me explain something to you. Okay. Now, if I reach out to you and I'm genuine about being sorry, and I'm the one to text you, and then you text me back, you may have a little bit of, let's say, attitude. You of course you're upset. I hurt you, I wronged you in the most dogmatic way. Now me, I feel as an enlightened individual, I should accept it. Whatever the hell you dish out, I'ma own that shit because I did it. You didn't do this to yourself. I did that. So it's about taking 100% accountability for your actions. So if I reached out to my husband after I got pregnant by another man, and if he really let me have it, I'm going to say, I understand why you feel that way. I'm so sorry. I'm doing my best to make amends. And then I will show him the actions that go along with my words instead of ghosting me. Okay? Because after I responded back to him, he didn't read my message until 24 hours after I wrote it. And then he didn't even respond back to me. So it lets me know that you had the wrong intentions when you reached out to me, because if you were looking for a different response, that's expectations for one. And when I didn't meet your expectations, you turned around in your mind psychology that you always use, and you chose not to respond to me because it's not what you wanted me to say. That's not being sincere. Because first of all, if I'm pouring out my heart to you and you tell me how much you hurt me, and then you're asking me, okay, how are you going to rectify this? And I don't respond, or the other person don't respond, I'm going to really feel like you weren't sincere. You're not sincere, because however I reacted should had no bearing on how he responded to me, if he was willing to go to bat for what he stood for, and that he was very remorseful for what he did. Because at that point, there has been times that he dished it out to me. He put me in my place, and I had nothing to say besides, you're right. You're absolutely right. I'm not going to deny anything that you're saying, and you're entitled to feel that way. Don't think that I don't also have the same entitlement. I'm entitled to my own feelings. I'm a human just like you, full of emotions. And at the end of the day, I can't take it out on nobody. I can't take out what you did to me on anyone in my life. I won't even take it out on you, but just know that you're going to know my truth. I'm not going to sugarcoat what you've done, and I'm not going to make it seem like I've healed when you're still doing it. I said, you're still putting bullets and shots in my heart. How can you tell me that you want me to completely heal, which is what he told me, when you're still the one pulling the trigger? I don't do the man and the little boy crying wolf. No, you got to show me actions, because it's just words from that point. I mean, you know. Oh, thank you, T. Taylor. Wow, that really means a lot to me. Okay, love you. It's all good. 2020 is going to be the best year ever, you guys. Trust me, you. Regina, that's a good question. Everyone she asked, how long does it take to stop crying after the cord is cut? It's really dependent on your vibration. After you cut cords, the secret is to stay in high vibrations. Okay. Because when you're in a higher vibration, you're in the natural state of love. And when you're in the state of love, love transmute and transforms anything that is unlike its kind. It dissolves it. So when I cut cords, or when I've cut cords in time past, because I would never cut cords with my twin ever again, it was the worst experience for both of us. We both felt like dying. Seriously. I seen him posted on social media after I did it. Not that he felt like dying, but he was at his lowest point. And I knew I had something to do with it. And anyway, I won't do that again. It about took us both out. And when I say both took us out, of course, we weren't thinking about suicide or taking our lives, but it really could have affected our health, because I'm sure there was a lot of emotional uh, dark nights, because I experienced it as he was experiencing it, even though I was in a relationship with my soulmate. So it's dependent on your vibration. That's the answer. Yes, it's Elizabeth Claire Prophet, Divine Blackness. You got it. That's exactly her name. And so, that's another thing about this journey, you guys, is that you pick up your twins' emotions. You pick up your twins' emotions. And so this is the reason why Source has always told me to keep myself in the higher vibrations, because when you're in the higher vibrations, it's kind of like water off your back, like a rubber duck. It just kind of rolls off of you. Even though some of us are sensitive and they can still feel it, I can still feel it. But when I'm in my higher vibrations, it doesn't bother me. You guys, we need to be grounded spiritually. Okay? Grounding is so quintessential on this journey. This is the secret to really keeping yourself mentally, spiritually, and emotionally sane. If anybody ever want to know what is the secret and making this journey, on this twin flame journey, easier and more smoother, this is the answer. Ground yourself. Because when you're grounded, you're in your center. And when you're in your center, nothing, no thing, no one can, kick you or, push you off your rocker. When you're in this state, you're right here in the heart. When you do anything from the heart, you're going to do nothing besides yield and reap wonderful rewards. Okay. Welcome, welcome, welcome for everyone that just joined me. We're just doing a late night chat talking about divine masculine, and we're talking about the boy that cried wolf. How many times have anyone that is on this chat have experienced your divine masculine, or even a soulmate or a karmic, telling you that they were sorry, but they never changed their actions? I want some feedback. How many people are going through this right now in the collective currently? And I just dropped link for donations. Donations are definitely welcome, you guys. Learning how to observe your emotions is a part of emotional intelligence. And not only knowing how to observe your emotions, but knowing how to respond instead of respond. It comes from a higher place. When you react, it definitely is from a lower place. And ego tends to take shape and form of our actions and our words. And so it's no longer love-based. and it's no longer from the heart. And when we add that into our relationship dynamics, especially as being twin flames, it alters the energy of the whole relationship. And we tend to have even more hardship with our twin flame. And I've learned that. I've learned every time I chose ego over love based kindness, joy, grace, for one, and unconditional love and radical forgiveness, it's harmed us more so than what has ever helped us. And I remember me and my twin flame got in the worst argument in our marriage. He was on the phone talking to his ex in front of me, which is so disrespectful. I have never done him like that. I never dreamed of doing him like that, and I could never do that. But he did. And he told me in front of his ex that his ex was more of a woman than what I would ever be. And at the time, you guys, I had just lost a set of twins, right? I was so hurt. I was so heated and I was so infuriated. But at that moment, I heard her say, Charles, why don't you just leave her? Why don't you just divorce her? And it was like he snapped out of it. And he was like, I'd rather die first before I leave or divorce my wife. And even though he said something to piss me off, in that moment, I realized dealing with people with a that they really don't know sometimes what they are saying or what they're doing. They're not cognizant. And they go through different states of consciousness, in and out of different states of consciousness. It's like the person that said, I would rather die first before I leave or divorce my wife. That was my sober husband. That was his sober thoughts. With the, mean thing that he said prior to that, that was the spirit that was in him speaking. Okay. That was the alcohol. So again, we as divine feminine, in order for us to have that off of us, all right, our force field is us being grounded. Because when you are grounded, you can look at things from a higher perspective. And looking at it from a higher perspective, even though it doesn't change the situation, it can definitely knock the edge off, make it a lot better for everybody. Right now, this situation is calling for you to have inner strength. The only way that we can get that inner strength is going within. You can't get it on a without, you guys. You can't get it in a synagogue. You can't get it in a temple. You can't get it at church. You cannot. You have to be connected to the divine. You have to connect with source. And this is the reason why you're not even able to come into divine masculine until you are completely one. At one-ment, in an attunement, whatever you want to call it, with source or with God. You have to completely surrender this whole situation and turn it right over to God. Because the moment that you get in the way, all you're doing is blocking your blessings for one and delaying your union. I'm speaking from personal experience, okay? You dating somebody else is not going to block your union with your twin flame. Trust me. That's the only way my twin flame comes back, is when I'm in a relationship with someone else. When I'm pining away after him, I'm waiting on him, I'm texting him, I'm calling him, no action. Why? Because that's not how you do it in a twin flame relationship. They may work in a 3D relationship with a soulmate. It may even work with a karmic, but it will never work with your twin. You have to do the work in 5D and above. You have to do the spiritual work. This is not a step that you can afford to skip over. Okay? So always go within. Call upon your angels, call upon your guides for help. They will guide you. They will direct you. And be patient. Be patient, because it's going to be worth the wait. It may not feel like it in the interim. Trust me. I know what it feels like to be anxious for union. You don't think I am married, honestly, despite my husband's alcoholism, I am married to the most perfect man. That is the only flaw. This man, for the whole time that I've been married to him, which has been 7 years, up until our separation, of course, even after our separation, and I was around him, he's always opened up the door for me. I've never ever opened a door, not even a car door. He opens up the car door for me. He pulls out a chair so I can sit down. I have always been like a queen. I've always been treated like a queen from him when he's sober. And the best sex ever, the best sex I've ever had, the best lovemaking I've ever had. I mean, hands down. Okay. But I know that he needs to heal, and I can't be selfish and I can't rush his healing. So if you guys look at it from that vantage point and from that perspective, then it'll help you to kind of chill out a little bit about rushing the process. Because a lot of our divine masculines are suffering from addictions, whether it be workaholic, whether it be sexual addictions through pornography, whether it's gambling away their money, or whether it's just the fact that they can't kick alcohol, okay, or drugs. It doesn't matter. An addiction is an addiction, and they're struggling with it. Some of them may be habitual liars. They may not have any of the other factors, but they just can't stop lying because that's the way they were raised. That's the way they were taught. And so you have to take in consideration that you will not have. Remember, this is a divine union. You are a child of God, divine feminine. God is not going to allow nobody to mistreat you, not even under the guise of being a twin flame. Not even your twin will he allow to continue to hurt you, to deject you, to objectify you. Okay? Know who you are in this. And then you'll start to understand, understand, and overstand why divine masculine hasn't had the opportunity to come back to hurt you again. Okay? A lot of us are being hurt, including myself. I went against my better judgment. I went against everything inside of me, you guys, my intuition and everything in my inner me, everything. Something told me not to respond to him because he wasn't ready. He was just giving me words. But because he kind of pressed the envelope a little bit more and gave me a side of him that he has never given me since we've been separated, I was gullible. I fell for it. And then I got hurt. Yeah. When I knew, Tyann, this is not what you want. If you respond, you're settling and you're enabling him to continue to give you the breadcrumbs, to not make a change, to not make a difference. You're enabling him to be that little boy that cried wolf over and over and over again. And I didn't listen. No more. I've had enough. I got my fail test. Okay. Now that's a lesson learned. And now I'm moving forward and I'm going to be in relationships that are reciprocal. And I'm already in a relationship with my baby. I even told my husband, I call him my husband because of course we're engaged, but I even told my new husband about what happened. And he told me, he said, baby, no matter what, I'm here for you. And I love you forever. Like in this man's mind, I'm like, oh my God, why didn't I marry you 7 years ago? In this man's mind, I can never do anything wrong. Even the fact that I, reached back out to my husband trying to get a resolution so we can get this divorce and everything like that, which every time I talk to my husband about a divorce, he gets dismal and I get no more text messages from him. Because I know he don't want to divorce, but it's needed at this point because whether he's my twin flame or not, I know that divorcing him is not going to end my contract with him, but it is going to free me. And it's going to give me the liberation that I solely deserve at this point because I've had enough. Divine Blackness, I can tell you this when it comes to divine masculines, when you have a heart to heart conversation, the energy and what's going on with the divine masculine is that he will try to find a loophole in what you're saying to keep the door open and to string you along. So I, at this point, no longer recommend heart to heart conversations with divine masculine. This is the other half of your soul. He knows how you feel because he feels the same way. Okay. When we continue to do the same things that we've been doing over and over and over again, all it does is recycle that same old stagnant energy that keeps us stuck on a spiral staircase that we're going to eventually fall down like a slippery slope. So no, I personally do not recommend you having a heart to heart with your divine masculine because he doesn't need your permission to move on. I never asked my husband for permission to move on. I just moved on. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for having condolences for my loss of the twins. I appreciate it. Yes, hurt people do hurt people. Correct. Oh my God. How do you say your name? Afonso Andrews? You are so on point. That is so true. Yes. Yeah, you know what? And I don't want to judge him and make him out to be this monster or this bad person, although I do have my certain feelings about him. I personally know that the way he was raised and his conditioning has a whole lot to do with who he is. And as an adult, how do you transfer that energy into something positive when you're faced with nothing but negative family members that have sphere of influence on your actions? How do you do that? And even though you may think that you're awakening, you still have that ingrained in you. It's not going to be an overnight process and it's not going to be easy, you know? And again, that's just where he's at. You're certainly welcome, Divine Blackness. Yeah, I don't recommend rekindling any type of emotions. You guys, let's talk about emotions. First of all, it's energy and motion. When you are interacting with an individual, you're given that exchange of energy. This is one of the reasons why I left my husband too, is because he had an emotional affair on me. And to me, emotional affairs are the worst because I can't compete with someone else's heart. Now, when it comes to the bedroom, I'm like Brandy and Chris Brown. If you put it down right, maybe we could spend some time. You remember that song, you guys? Put It Down is the name of the song. I know what I can do in the bedroom, and I'm not being a big head. I already know that I harness the goddess energy. I know how to open up chakras while we making love and everything. I know secrets, baby. So I'm never concerned about the physical aspect because he will never ever get the height and intense height of heights with any other woman other than me because I know energy. And that's what gets him to his highest peak. He would never orgasm for a woman like he orgasms for me. Never. Okay. But I told him that. I said, I wish that you would have had sex with someone physically. I would have forgave you. I could have forgave you. But not only was this an emotional affair, you guys, this emotional affair lasted for a year. It was the beginning that it lasted for a year. And here's the kicker. We were separated. He moved downstairs in the basement for a year. So basically his ass went down there to have the emotional affair that he had on me for a whole year. No, I was done. A whole year and you kept that shit for me? A whole year you was sexting and texting somebody and you kept that shit for me? If you can do that, what can you not do? And it just seems like the stuff that he kept doing to me, it was like, how can I say this? Oh, okay. So you'll let me do that? Well, let me see what else I can get away with. He just kept on pressing the envelope. He kept on pressing the envelope and saying how far he can go with me. And I'm like, I'm glad, even though I love him to life, I'm glad I left. I don't regret leaving him because I had to teach him how to treat me. And there is a saying that you let people do what they want to do so you can see what they will really do. And I saw a whole nother side of him. I saw a whole nother side of him. And I realized that was the real him, the side that I see. So the mask came off, you guys. Personal power. Speaking about leaving him and setting the standards for myself and raising the bar in my own life and just basically setting personal power to do that. Not everybody has the strength to walk away. Hey, I don't judge you either way. I don't judge you if you stay with someone who treats you like a doormat and walks all over you. Eventually, you're going to get tired. Eventually. You know what? I remember there is a lady that I first love is his mother. She's passed away. She was like a mother to me, okay? I call her Mama Stacy. She told me, when you get tired of being sick and tired of the way that he's treating you, referring to my first husband, she said, then you'll walk away. But in between time and until then, nothing that I do, nothing that I say to you is going to convince you. And she's right. You have to get that strength within yourself, just like the inner strength card, to know first and foremost your worth. And then advances. Once you get to that point where you know who you are, once you get to that point when you know who you are, no one can come along and pull a wool over your eyes and tell you anything different. You have to have that inner conviction. You have to have that personal power, your personal integrity for yourself, being your true, authentic self. Being your true, authentic self won't allow for you to be messed over with. Your divine masculine within is going to protect. I did a personal reading on myself today, and my predominant energy is masculine. Now, I am going to say this. Once you reach union within, I only say divine feminine because that used to be the energy that I predominantly carried. But now, you guys, I'm balanced in both the yin and the yang. But today I got yang because that is my predominant energy right now. And so once you balance your yin and your yang, you become both divine masculine and divine feminine. And you come into unity. So if someone was to tell me, are you divine feminine? If they were to ask me that question, I would tell them that I'm neither. I'm both masculine and feminine because I have had union within. I know that, I'm not divine feminine anymore. No, that's the old is trying to ascend and try to raise my vibration. I went through all of that. That's the old me. Okay. When you experience heroes gamos, okay, connection problems. Are you guys able to still hear me? It's like we're trying to get some interference and interruption here. Okay. Somebody let me know if you can still hear me. And also you guys, do want to let you know that love donations are appreciated. It's no pressure, but look out for your girl. I'm looking out for you. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Thank you, Kiki Star. Appreciate you. All right. So we got our last card. Our last card is determination. You got to be determined. This twin flame journey is not for the faint of hearts. It's not for the weak. Only the strong survives in this game. And when I say game, I'm being facetious. Okay, I know the twin flame journey is not a game, you guys, but it is the game of life, right? Everybody has a role, and there's different players, even in the twin flame journey. You have the karmics, you have the soulmates, you have the higher level soulmates, you have divine masculine, you have divine femme, you have the angels, your ancestors, your guides, you have source. You see what I'm saying? Everybody has a role to play. Everybody has been contracted to the role that they're playing, even the karmics. You even have, for the person that your divine masculine is with, you even have a soul contract with that person, because there's something in that person that the divine masculine or feminine needs to learn or to heal from, that you cannot teach and you cannot heal. Plain and simple. Hey, I didn't make the rules. I just play the game. And when you know better, you do better. Somebody mentioned that earlier in the comments. It's true. It's Maya Angelou who quoted that, by the way. When we know the whole landscape, the whole environment, everything changes, because you start looking at it from a higher perspective. You start looking at it in 5D and above. And when you do that, I'm telling you, it's so much better. Like what happened to me on the 2nd, which was yesterday, being in my highly evolved self helped me to pull out of it a lot faster than when I was in 3D. If I was in 3D, oh my God, I would have cursed him out from here to Czechoslovakia and back. But I know using profanity with him only makes the situation worse, so I chose not to do that. Hero Gamos, exactly. Hero Gamos is the alchemical marriage. It is more of a relationship between you and the divine, but it also includes your partner. But you have that inner marriage with the divine masculine and the divine feminine within, alongside source as being the third fold cord. And that is a spiritual marriage. That is your spiritual connection. So when you experience that, that's unity, right? But what has to happen after that is reunification of the souls. Now, you and your divine counterpart on the outside have to come into unification together in 3D. That's the next step. Hero Gamos is like the second to last step. The very last step is the third, because then you got the unification of the souls, which is the second. And then you got the very last step, which is the grand reunion. That's how it goes. There's different steps, but I'm never one to go through all the steps and the stages of twin flames, because a lot of people don't go through those stages because everybody has a different soul contract. So I'm not one of the psychics or tarot readers that will tell you all the different steps that are along the twin flame journey, because it's irrelative. It doesn't apply to everybody. So I choose not to go there. Another thing is when you know that you're about to come into union with your divine masculine is when you start saying 11 after the clock, like 211, 311, 511, 611, 811, 711, all day long for like the last 2 months. For me, that's what I've been seeing, and it's been driving me crazy. because I know what that means. Because every time I've had a 3D union with my divine masculine, that's what my angels start doing to me. 111, 211, 311, 411, 511. And I'm like, oh my God, please stop. Bring him here already. I'm tired of seeing all these different 11s. And it's a single 11 when you're about to get back together in 3D union. It's not the 1111 anymore. It's the single 11s, like I was telling you, the 111, 211, 311, 411s. Like, oh my God. I really literally can make a song about it all. They're gauged to know when you're coming into 3D union. There has been so many divine masculines that have been fooled and deceived by that. But I can tell you, for those that are awakening, and there is a mass majority, um, beauty and success, that are awakening, that know that shit ain't true. Because there are things that the karmic cannot do that only divine feminine can do. Now, I'm not saying that the karmics can't go on the astral planes. The astral planes is for everybody. They can. Okay. But there are things that the karmic cannot do with divine masculine, like the telepathy that divine feminine have with divine masculine. They cannot do unless they do, and I have a video about this, like a possession, where a spirit takes a possession in them and do the telepathy for them. They don't have the power themselves to do that. Um, there is a lot of dark energy, but you guys, there's so much light that's coming through that is like a combustion that is really breaking up the darkness that has been in the collective. It has been allowed only for healing purposes, not to discourage us, not to punish us, not to just make this a living hell and nightmare. That's not what the divine intended. Good and evil serves its place. We came here for duality. We came here to experience good and bad, right and wrong, dark and light, night and day. We came for this, okay? So we can't really complain when it's happening. When it's happening to us, it is to bring us to our awareness of who we are and the divine light that is within us, to heal it or to vanish it, okay? I know. That's another thing. Girl, you're gonna have that. As long as he's connected with that karmic, they're always going to copy divine feminine. Because remember, there has to be some type of familiarity. There has to be something that keeps him attracted. So why not mimic divine femme? Because that's who he loves. So she's going to present, or he's going to present, that same face, play that same role. Exactly. You guys, huge something big. And I'm going to go ahead and end it on this part. We are going into our new chapters. We are at the beginning, for most of you that were not on at the very beginning of our 10-year cycle. So now we're feeling the dust settle for that, from that. And we are experiencing a lot of backlash. Okay. Because the karmics know that their time is up. It's up. So the worst pretty much is behind us, you guys. I'm not going to lie. The worst is behind us. We do not have to enter into this new cycle with any karmic energy. Okay? In the name of the divine, Yahshua, Yahweh, Jehovah, Allah, Yadhevahe, whatever God or deity that you feel close to. And that energy, and that God energy and frequency, it has abolished completely karmic cycles. If you're seeing anything, it's just the remnants of it. And the divine reminded me today that we do not walk by sight, but we walk by faith. Nothing that you're seeing is real. It's just an illusion. And if you really think of the enemy is the great illusionist, making things appear to seem real that are not. And that is what distracts many of divine feminines, is that we go off of what we see on a physical plane, but we crowd out what the divine has told us in our hearts. So hold on to what you do not see and what you feel strongly, innately in your heart, because that's your truth. And it will gnaw at you, it will eat away at you. Even when you say, I don't want this, you know how many times I said I don't want this journey? Too many times I've lost count. And even for us as readers, I really cannot stand readers that act like they're unfazed by this journey and they're all in love and light, and that they never have had a tired moment or they've never had a difficult experience on the journey. Because if that's the case, you're not a twin. You're not a true twin flame. I had a sister who is also a psychic reader who told me one time when she first started her journey, it was about a year into the journey, that her and her twin flame have the most beautiful, rewarding my pain. Yeah. I said, just wait. If this is truly your twin flame, you're going to experience heartbreak, heartache, and pain. Trust me. She is experiencing everything that I told her. Not that I wished it on her, but I know the ins and the outs, the nicks. You guys with me? This internet. The nicks and it went down, 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 down. Okay. And I couldn't even believe that I was experiencing everything that I experienced. Like, I've been in an abusive relationship before, I've been in a toxic marriage before. Never in my life have I experienced what I've experienced in my marriage with my twin with anybody. He absolutely was and is the worst. Okay. I can't even compare him to nobody. And that's bad. But we signed a soul contract for this. And looking at it from a higher perspective, it's just that those things that still need to be healed in me are still coming up for healing. No matter how high up on the ladder I am in enlightenment. I work in 9D, you guys. I go above 5D. But I still have things that I have through. That's my karma. That's a part of life. And I'm constantly clearing it out, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to continue to keep coming. How does the karmics know about twin flames? Because we all are players in this. The karmic has a contract, a soul contract with you too, as a divine femme. Just like we know that we're divine feminines. They know that they're karmics and they know about divine masculines, and they're sent to distract divine masculine from his journey. It's up to divine masculine to wake up and smell the roses. It's his place or hers, you know? So that's how they know. They're playing the role, right? Just like demons know their demons and angels know their angels. And demons are aware of angels because they once were angels. Do you see what I'm saying? All right, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. I love you guys so much. We'll do this again, okay? I love chatting with you all. At this moment, I want you guys to have a good night. I want you to recharge your batteries. Listen to some solfeggio tones or listen to some mantras before you go to sleep to raise your vibration so you can wake up in the highest vibrations and not feeling drained. We talked about this also on Chad's channel. Keep your vibrations high because that is what is going to help you. All right, you guys. It is a good karma to like, share, comment, subscribe, leave a love donation if you feel inclined to, or you can purchase a gift through my wish list on Amazon and it will appear on the channel. I now wrap you in my love and I cloak you with the light of Christ consciousness. And so it is, everyone. Namaste.